Let me introduce to you Jim Robb, or as he is affectionately known as, Mouse, and his lifetime friend, Marsh Malcolm. These two will be showcased in our segment we call Legends and Personalities. Swell Tale met up with Marsh and Mouse at their surf spot in Point Loma, California. Later, we talked with Jim Robb at his home in San Diego, California, about his involvement in surfing's history.
Jim, it's good to be with you.
Nice to be here.
Folks around Ocean Beach call you Mouse. How did you get that nickname?
Well, when we were small kids and we hung out at the lifeguard station, one of the lifeguards gave us all names, and I was a little skinny guy with a big chest, and he looked like Mighty Mouse, so he called me Mouse, and mine stuck.
Jim, did you have any heroes as a child?
Well, we had the usual ball players and that, but my heroes were the surfers when I got old enough to know what surfing was.
Is that right? Who were some of your heroes?
Skeeter Malcolm, and there was
Skeeter, who
just passed away, yeah. In old Hoppy Schwartz and those guys.
So describe your first experience with the ocean.
Well, we used to go to Del Mar when I was a kid, and they had the powerhouse, and they had a pier there, and the powerhouse is still there. And they used to have slot machines in there and stuff. My dad would go up and play slot machines, and I found an old paddleboard on the beach one day and drug it out in the water and tried to stand on it. Tried to get my dad to take it home, and he wouldn't.
How did you get into surfing?
Well, Skeeter Malcolm he took Marsh and I and gave us one of his old boards, and they would take us down the cliffs and make us go way down where they weren't. As soon as we could prove we could stand up, they'd let us surf with them.
Marsh Malcolm, Mouse's lifetime friend, who was unable to be with us for the interview, is also very much involved in the surfing community. These two have been surfing the breaks around Southern California for more than 50 years.
Jim, I understand you ran around with the likes of Bob Simmons and Dempsey from down South Bay.
Yes.
What can you tell us about those guys?
Well, those guys, Bob was a surfer board innovator. All we knew about were the planks, the redwood balsa planks, and he came up with all these new ideas. So we were in awe of him. He was older than us. He was the older guy. And Dempsey is too. Dempsey's several years older. And those guys were the kings from down at the big waves in the South Bay. Yeah, they'd come up here and with their planks, they put handles in the tails so that they hold on to them when they had to go through the surf with it.
Any other we would call legends today that you would run with? Can you think of any?
Well, back in those days, yeah, I surfed with Hobie and Mike Doyle. We used to compete against each other in the tandem surfing, and I surfed in the Huntington Beach with David Nueva. With the year he won, I was in the singles that year. He was a 14-year-old guy. I used to judge all those contests.
Do you remember Butch Van Aert?
Oh, sure, I surfed with him, yeah. I used to run a contest in Ocean Beach for 10 years, and I had Mike Henson in my 14 and under group. He was a dynamo when we first saw him.
Is that right?
Yeah, Petey Johnson, him, and Robert August, those guys.
Robert August was from down this way?
No,
I thought he was from up north.
Yeah, well, I used to go up all the way to Malibu and distribute the entry blanks. There's $1 entry.
Is that right?
I had 500 entries.
And what was the name of the organization?
It was just the Ocean Beach Days of Fun surf contest.
You get these legends of today down to these contests?
Oh, I had Butch in it. I had, I can't think of his name.
Skip?
Skip was in them. I surfed with Skip in a lot of contests. And yeah, but the guy I'm trying to think of is the one they call God, but I can't think of his name right now.
Phil Edwards?
Phil Edwards.
Oh, yeah.
I had Phil in there,
right.
yeah. I had Phil Edwards judging, and I had, God, I can't think of these guys' names now, but Yeah,
Dora?
yeah, Mickey Dora. I surfed with Mickey's dad, guard Chapin. We lifeguarded together, and and
Pat Kern?
Johnny Fain, Pat
Johnny
Kern, and I went to. We were in junior high school together.
Pat Kern's from San Diego.
He went right here to Dana. He was him and I was the first class at Dana. And then he moved to La Jolla. Yeah, we surfed together a lot, and I surfed with Ricky Gregg.
You didn't happen to ever get to know the Duke, did you?
Oh, you bet I did.
Oh,
I was inaugurated. He inaugurated the last contest just before he died. It was in his honor at Huntington Beach. And we had a big luau with the Duke.
Oh, so, Jim, what is interesting to me is to meet a person like you who actually surfed the redwood boards back in those days. How did you steer them? Tell the folks that might not know, because you didn't have fins on those boards or skegs.
Well, we did have a skeg. It was a little skeg about 4 inches long and about 2 inches deep, and the board was perfectly flat and square. So water would run across the tail of the board. And if you were, say, a right footer and you were going to go to the left, well, you would kind of do a little pirouette and put your foot behind you and drag it in that water and bring the board to the left. The right-hand turn, you would drop...
Like a canoe.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Right-hand turn, you'd drop your leg clear up to the knee and over the side and bring it on around. You were actually balancing on one leg.
No kidding, that must have been some kind of skill.
Yeah, it was.
Boy.
And then, remember,
Legs, that's for sure.
later on, the drop knee turn, that came from there. Yeah.
I see.
Yeah.
Interesting. One more question, Jim, before we go. Even though you're retired, everybody has goals. What are your goals for life today?
Well, I'd like to just continue surfing and continue with my life the way it's been and enjoy the rest of my life as much as I've enjoyed it, the first part of it. And I feel I have a lot more left to go.
We who surf owe a lot to these two gentlemen. Our hats off to you, Mouse and Marsh.